So I thought I would try something different for this newsletter and walk you through everything that we've been working on. So the last newsletter was December 15th. Since then, we published 2 posts. Both of these actually came out this past week, and we've shipped a lot of stuff. So this is a pretty big newsletter. I generally want to release a newsletter every 2 to 4 weeks, but this one is more like an 8-week newsletter. So buckle up. We shipped custom domains, totally rebuilt logs. We improved the speed of HTTP vals by 100 milliseconds minimum, and in some cases, much more than that, and dozens, and really truly dozens of other improvements. We deprecate our run API, which was the biggest foot gun we had in the platform, and we didn't break any users in production. And I apologize to the users who have had to tweak a little bit about how they use the platform, but I'm really proud of how we got rid of this foot gun. And Tom wrote and released a post about how our runtime is built, how we run your code in a secure way, but also fast and with flexibility. We built and rebuilt the system 4 times, and we've learned a lot in the process. All you guys are saying such nice things about us on Twitter. You are the best. So you can click into those if you want to see what folks are saying about us. Another big announcement, we are growing the team. We are trying to build a New York team. And if you are in New York or you want to move to New York and you're passionate about democratizing programming, we'd love to hear from you. Here is the post, and here is our new About page that I spent a couple hours writing this last week. It talks about our mission of end user programming, which is pretty well represented by this book by Bonnie Nardi. And I also reference Seymour Papert and Mathland in our About page. Back to the newsletter. So you can give any HTTP val you have on Val Town its own custom domain. So for example, my Date Me directory, this is like an alternative dating website. This whole thing is now hosted on Val Town. And so I have this old GitHub style banner. This val right here is rendering this page. And then I've pointed a custom domain at it. So dateme.directory is actually pointing at that val. Here I can take you to my custom domains and you can see how that is set up. All right, logs. So logs were totally rebuilt to be faster, larger, streamed, and scalable. So you can see your logs in real time as your val is running. So the val's running here, and every second it's putting out a new log. So this new version of logs is stored in ClickHouse, which is, it seems, where everyone is storing logs these days. So we're excited about that. And you'll notice throughout the post, I thank people for their feature requests, because as you'll see below, we are now accepting feature requests and letting you vote on them, and we're giving you credit for them when we actually build them. So get your feature requests in and get your votes in, because that's how we know how to build stuff. So this next one was a big lift, and it's a really important improvement in 2 different ways. This diagram, I know there's a lot going on. We made it as simple as we could. We start to execute your val, and what we used to do is your val would return. It would reach the return statement, and we would continue to execute the val. Maybe you have unawaited promises or timeouts, other things, and then Dino would exit, and that for whatever reason right now, it takes 100 milliseconds for Dino to exit. And at the end of all of this, we would send the HTTP response that you returned over here. And I guess it's obvious that there's an optimization here where your function has returned a response right here. So we can now, and what we're doing now is we return your HTTP response as soon as we get it from you. Then we continue in the background to process your unawaited promises and let Dino exit. So in a simple case where you have no unawaited promises, you'll see a 100 millisecond improvement right away, because we're not waiting for Dino to exit. So even if this is 0, you still get a 100 millisecond improvement. But if you do have post-processing kind of tasks, like sending an email or saving something to a database, or anything that you want to happen after sending an HTTP response, now you can do that really easily. Basically, just don't await anything. So in this example, I start a promise, but I don't wait for this to happen. I immediately return 0, and then I log to the console 1,000 milliseconds after I've already returned 0. As I talked about before, we deprecated the biggest foot gun, which is our run API. You can check out the announcement post if you want more details. It's a pretty good post that explains why it was the way it is and how it is now. The first 4 runtimes of Val Town, we started in Node with the VM module to run your code. Then I moved over to VM2, and then Tom moved us over to Dino workers, and then most recently moved us over to Dino processes. As I was alluding before, now you can suggest and vote on feature requests in a GitHub discussions community. There have been 60 features requested so far. We've built and closed 3 of these requests. And as you'll see, that only the top ones only have 5 upvotes. So if you want to get your feature to the top, it doesn't require much community organizing like Nico did here. Please upload this feature request. We love feedback. Our feedback button has a form which will now email us when you hit send feedback, and it'll CC you on it so we can communicate with you about what feedback you have or any question you have right away via email. We also have links to make a feature request, report a bug, join a Discord, schedule a chat with me, or email us directly. So we are soliciting all feedback. We have a status page now. It's at status.val.town, and it's powered by Chronometer. And now we just want to get these 9s. All right. We made a little improvement to the TypeScript docs that are provided to you inline, which is a big help. Released a code mirror open source library, code mirror continue. So when you hit enter, it automatically continues block comments, which is helpful for JS doc kind of stuff. We added a code folding in our editor. And now we have really dozens of things. I don't know if I'm going to go through them all. This one was a lot of effort, but every time you loaded the page, you would have a whole flicker. That's gone away. We totally redesigned our scheduled val and cron UI. We added a very clear run now button on scheduled vals. The tabs for viewing logs and previewing HTTP vals are new. We have new about and careers pages. This one's a big deal. So if I comment on a val and then you comment on the val, I get a notification for your comment, which is really helpful. So people can actually have conversations on val's comment pages. A lot of just big improvements, big and small improvements. Bugs, features. You can browse through this yourself and let us know what you think. This one's kind of fun. If you want to know what version of Dino we're running, there is an API for that built in Val Town, and this is the code that makes that API. This is the actual API endpoint if you wanted this data via API, or you can just go to this page and look at it. Our roadmap, here's what's on our mind. We shift this kind of stuff fairly quickly in response to what we hear from you guys. And now that you can suggest them now and vote on them. So hopefully we'll get better and better about building more of what you guys want sooner. And the cool val section, there's so many cool ones. Over the last couple months, we featured a couple dozen, but there are way more. So browse through these and browse through newest and trending if you want to see what everyone has been up to. And definitely do join our Discord if you want to be a part of all of our conversations, bragging about vals, sharing tips, that kind of thing. We have a lot of fun in the Discord. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you like this video. Maybe I'll do it again for the next newsletter.